right, we will go ahead and get started today with our support group meeting. We're continuing our conversation about breastfeeding. I'll just kind of watch and see if anybody comes in. Want to make sure I have enough time to go over everything today. So the last time we started talking about breastfeeding, we talked about some of the benefits, we talked about some of the challenges, and we're going to continue that conversation today. We're going to talk about the benefits, some more benefits. I have a quick video to watch about hand expression. We're going to talk some more about a few challenges working with moms and how you can find some support. Also, I'm going to kind of review that goal sheet that I shared with everyone last time, and we're going to talk about why it is important to practice and some tips. So let's get started. So once again, I'm using the Milk Magic curriculum by Nurturely. Very nice curriculum. Hopefully, when we get back to being able to do in-person visits, um, I'll be able to do some workshops and things like that, where we can really talk more in depth about breastfeeding and cover some of the great information in this curriculum. So, like I said, we're going to start with some of the benefits again. Um, we talked about um, the nutrients that's in breast milk. But breastfeeding also may facilitate communication development. So the interaction of direct breastfeeding, chest feeding may facilitate development of hunger communication and infant self-regulation. So by them just kind of knowing that you are there and they're feeling that comfort, they're gonna let you know when they're hungry, and you'll be able to pick up on those cues a lot easier. Breastfeeding parents show heightened responsiveness to baby. So both in brain activation and behavioral responses. So, and this is in comparison to babies that are fed with formula. And it probably just has to do something with that connection that we are making with baby, that skin to skin, just being close, being attentive. You just being a little bit more aware when you are just more um, paying attention to when baby needs to eat. So lactation gives parents an added health boost. Once again, breastfeeding decrease a parent's risk of many major health complications, including breast cancer, ovarian cancer, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. So not only is it benefits for baby, but there are health benefits for mom as well. So nursing parents also get added mental health protection. So, more frequent breastfeeding may decrease the risk of postpartum depression, which now affects around 1 in 5 new parents. So, we know anything that can help with decreasing that risk of getting postpartum depression is always going to be helpful. So, breastfeeding is just another tool that could kind of help us in that area. All right, so now we're going to look at a video about hand expression. Our last meeting, we talked about how sometimes our babies might be separated from us in NICU, or let's say you have to go to work. But either way, you have milk that you need to save for your baby. So I wanted to show you this video about hand expression so that we all can have a resource and idea of how to do it correctly. All right. So that was a very, very good video. And I wanted to show you that video because I think that hand expressing is one of the biggest tools that we could use to kind of help us on our breastfeeding journey because we always have our hands. We might not always have a pump, but if we have our hands, we can relieve ourselves if we feel like there's too much milk on our breast or and we can stay the milk for baby. But it is important to practice. So as she said, you need to watch the videos again or try to find videos to help you. But make sure you're pulling back, not on the areola, and make sure just you have to practice getting that squeeze right, that the right motion. So a couple of important things that she said from the video um, was to pull the breast back and mimic baby suck. So in the beginning, it's going to be those quick pulls, and then you're gonna go to the slow pull because that's how babies do. When you put them on, they're like, "Hey, I'm here. Let's get this party started." So it is important to kind of try to mimic um, the the speed of the baby. And as she says, the breast pump can't do that. I personally liked to use the hand pumps over the electrical pumps because I felt like it could I could control it better and do kind of that tempo. But hand expressing, like I said, is a wonderful option. And another important thing that she brought up was the importance of emptying our breasts. So that is the signal to our body to make more milk is when our breasts are empty. So even after you have maybe fed baby or it's nice to go ahead and maybe hand express a couple extra ounces, and those are the ounces that you can save and put in the freezer and have for storage and have if you want to go out to eat or whatever, and you don't have to worry about kind of building up a backup supply. Just get in the habit of after you finish nursing, spend a couple minutes. You saw in 4 minutes she was able to express almost 3 ounces. So I know our time is very, very valuable, but a couple times a day, if we just spend the extra couple minutes hand expressing, save that, put it in the bag, put it in the freezer, and then you'll have it for a rainy day. So now I just want to cover a couple of challenges. One is perceived insufficient milk syndrome, and that is the most common reason parents stop breastfeeding earlier than intended. This is something I wanted to kind of come back to because I definitely think that this is something that a lot of moms face. I know I personally faced it in three of my breastfeeding experiences. I just felt like I wasn't making enough. But what you need to know is that it can take several days after birth for your supply to come in. That's normal. And it's just very important for you to understand the process, to understand um, when your milk comes in, how big your baby's stomach is, how big that demand and supply is going to be, so that you kind of know what to expect. We talked about last time feeding on demand. You're going to watch the baby, not the clock. The best way to ensure that your baby is getting enough feeding frequently and letting baby led feeding schedule is to feed on demand. So this could mean multiple times per hour. This is normal and even through the night. So it's important to know kind of our milestones that our babies are going through so that we can anticipate when baby might be more hungry because if they're growing and having like a growth spurt, then of course they're going to want to feed more. And so I know that was one thing that would personally like alarm me with some of my babies. I'm like, oh goodness, I'm not making enough milk because she's acting like she's still hungry. She's acting like she's not getting enough. But I didn't know that that is just baby's way of communicating with my body that it's time to make more milk because I'm about to grow. So just kind of knowing and being educated on the process was enough to kind of set me at ease for my last one to help me to have a successful experience. And once again, we do not wait until baby is hangry to start feeding because it's just not going to be a positive experience. You know how it is when you get hungry, you sit around with an attitude until somebody brings you something to eat. But it's kind of like that for baby. They don't really know how to communicate, or they're communicating the best way they know how. So we just want to feed baby before they get to the point of where they're screaming and crying. We'll look for cues like sucking and rooting, or maybe reaching for their, putting their hands in their mouth. So we're gonna look for these little cues so that we can go ahead and get them on the breast and nursing before they actually get upset and fussy. So another one of the challenges is kind of has to deal with our society and our culture, but the U.S. is one of four countries with no mandated maternity leave. So 12% of new mothers have to go back to work within 2 weeks of giving birth. So I definitely wanted to spend some time in this session, kind of talking to those moms that may have to go back to work and have to figure that out. So hand expressing will definitely be one of your biggest tools, but you need to make a pumping plan. So you need to talk to your employer before baby comes. You need to know the laws, federal law um, grants you break time for nursing moms. It's supposed to be private, lockable, non-bathroom space, and then you need to have be given a reasonable break time to express your milk. So it is very important that you have your plan. Where are you going to put your milk when you finish? Don't be like me. I was a teacher, and I go in my office to pump and end up falling asleep. But definitely try to stick to your pump plan. Your pump plan might include pumping during the day and nursing when you get home at night. So just think about what you are going to do to kind of make your experience successful, considering the fact that you may have to go to work. So another solution is to express frequently. Once again, expressing frequently will mimic our baby's demand. Our body responds to baby's demand. So sometimes pumping at work is impossible or too stressful. It's not all or nothing. Some parents maintain milk supply by breast sleeping at night and on weekends. Any bit of breastfeeding provides benefits. So just know that any amount of milk that you can give your baby is better than nothing. So I think sometimes we could be a little hard on ourselves. I know that we may go in with this thing having expectations and goals and hopes and desires, but sometimes we have to reevaluate our goals. And it's easy to write things down on a piece of paper, but once we actually get into these things, we're going to see what actually works and what does not work. And so at that time, we're going to have to sit down and reevaluate things. We're going to have to sit down and maybe reassess our goals, reprioritize some things, or find a better way to do things. But at the end of the day, if you're doing something and it's not working, you need to find a way to make it work. You might also have a challenge of facing the lack of support from your family and friends. I know I heard some of these lines in my day. So and so wasn't breastfed, and he and she turned out fine, or they think they were spoiling, or you need to cover yourself up. So we just need to be prepared. Once again, this has to do with our society and kind of our culture. We are trying to actually reclaim and change the dialogue surrounding breastfeeding. We have to realize there's a whole generation of knowledge that has not been transferred down about breastfeeding. So we're kind of returning back to the normal. So it hasn't been things that even your grandparents or your mother has done or seen. They didn't see women walking around just feeding their babies. They saw women covering their babies up. So we're trying to just reclaim what is actually natural and put it back in a positive light. So, some solutions is social media support. So, I know from my personal experience, it wasn't until I was around other nursing moms till I actually got the support that I needed to be successful with nursing my fourth child for 4 years. I actually had to cut her off, but it wasn't until I actually saw people nursing a 2 year old, nursing a 3 year old, that let me see, okay, it is kind of normal. It is normal, not kind of normal, it is normal. And it just made me kind of rethink things. But this is a list of some support groups on social media, and I'll provide a link with a Google Doc with all of these things, but you have nurturally, normalized breastfeeding, Black Breastfeeding Week, Indigenous Motherhood, Women Rising, Badass Mother Birther. Sorry. But these are just a few that social media outlets that you can reach out to, and just it's helpful to see other moms' story. It's helpful to have a platform where you can ask questions. In the middle of the night, something's not going wrong, right, or you feel like something's not going right, you can, put a post out there and you get that support that you need and answers that you need. So it is important that you just find a support group. Find people who are interested in the things that you're trying to accomplish with your breastfeeding. And they're out there and they're going to tell you kind of how to get over these obstacles and hurdles and hopefully have a beautiful experience. So, social media is one outlet. And also, we have to definitely learn how to support each other. So one thing that I love is the nurturally breastfeeding cards, and it's is you can go on to this website, and this will also be included in the link, and they'll send you these cards, and this is something that you can kind of pass on to another mom. You see somebody breastfeeding, it just kind of gives us that extra encouragement to keep going. But the card says, "We support you." As a breastfeeding supporter, I wanted to thank you for feeding your child in public. Mother's Milk provides personalized medicine and nutrition that is critical for healthy development. By feeding in public, you're encouraging our society to normalize a behavior that should be normal. So it's just a way to kind of, even if you're not breastfeeding yourself, you get the cards and just give it to somebody that you see in the streets breastfeeding. Promise you that would definitely make their day, especially since most of the things that we see in here are negative, surrounding people feeding in public. So I will include again the link for creating your breastfeeding goals. It is very, very important that you do set goals for your breastfeeding. It could be weekly goals, it could be goals for your whole experience. But time to set your feeding goals. Any bit of breastfeeding provides benefits. Even if you go back to work, it may be possible to breastfeed at night or on the weekends, which still provides benefits. Who The World Health Organization recommends exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months and continuous breastfeeding for 2 years and beyond. So that's the World Health Organization. Everybody else is doing this in every other country. We not every other country is not talking about this, because in every other country, breastfeeding is respected and it is a part of the normal maternal process. So it's only in America that we're really having to address these. But it is important for you to set goals. It is a proven fact that people are more successful when they actually sit down and write out goals. So it's not going to be any different for your breastfeeding journey. I want you to set goals. They might have to be revisited, they might have to be changed, but it's just important for you to always be working towards something. And it also will help you kind of celebrate your victories. So when you set a goal and you reach them, then you want to celebrate. So it can also be used as a form of encouragement. Um, so practicing is so very important. This is definitely one of those situations where practice make permanent. We have to practice. Practice your laid back position at home. Get your pillow, chair, bed set up ready. Think about how, where, and how are you going to breastfeed your baby in a way that you are comfortable, where baby's comfortable. You're going to be reclined. You need your head, neck, shoulder supported, tummy to tummy with baby, skin to skin, baby's facing their breast. Make sure you have water bottles and snacks nearby. Some people I know, they do like breastfeeding caddies, and in their caddies they have all those little things they might want to have right on hand, even when it comes down to like a pen and a piece of paper. So you can make your little breastfeeding caddy so that whether you're feeding in a room or you're feeding, let's say, in the baby's room in the rocker, you kind of still have all those things that you need very close by. So set yourself up for success. Um, Know that feeding your baby in public is your right and your priority. So if you're feeling nervous, practice at home in front of a mirror. Layering clothing is helpful. So, like for example, some people don't like the fact that when they lifted their shirt up, their stomach is exposed. So I wore a lot of tanks because the tanks I was able to just lift my breast up over the tank, and that way my stomach, or they have the snap tanks and things like that. You can do scarf, bring baby in before pulling clothing to the side, or large sun hats on babies, but make sure that you can see your baby's face. So it's always just important to practice. It's not something that you may think it comes easily and naturally, but it does not help to practice. So let's talk about some milk producing foods. We have oats, moringa, barley, almonds, leafy greens, fenugreek, spirulina, flax seeds, brewer's yeast, fennel. There are also a lot of concoctions already made, like the mother milk tea. You can find that Amazon, grocery stores, whatever. Lactation cookies. You can even buy them pre-made, or you can find you a nice little recipe and make them yourself. Our goal is to get an average of 500 calories more. 500, okay? Hydration is key. So make sure you have your water. You need to definitely track your water consumption and make sure you are staying hydrated. If you're just a person that doesn't like to drink just straight water, you could do herbal teas and then maybe just not put any kind of sweetener in them. But they have lots of yummy, yummy herbal teas that I know kind of help me get my water down sometime. So definitely make sure that your nutrition is on point so that your body can actually do what it needs to do. So before we go, I did want to show you one of the resources that I will have on the link. I think it's a very good website, but it shows you some different breastfeeding positions. So just know that if you're trying a position and it does not work, you do not have to be married to that position. Try another one. Um, my favorite one, I guess, was the out of hand position or on the pillow. So they even have examples if you have twins or if you have to tandem feed. I had to do that with my last two. The sling, that was one of the reasons why I loved wearing my baby. It was just so easy for feeding. If baby was hungry, I could just, pull my shirt down and the baby still be in a sling and nurse. But just know that you have to find the position that works best for you and baby. The latch once again is so very important. If baby is not latching correctly, the milk is not going to flow correctly. That can make baby frustrated. Baby's not getting the milk that they need. So just make sure that baby has a very good latch. And that may take some practicing. Once again, practice makes permanent. So this website shows you how to do correct latches, incorrect latches. This right here was my favorite move to break a latch. Sometimes babies might fall asleep on your breast, or you just need to break the latch. You maybe want to switch breasts. So if you just pull baby off your breast, that definitely can be very painful. So if you just slide your little finger in there, it'll break the the latch that the baby has, and then you can just kind of pull your nipple out of the baby's mouth. But you definitely do not want to just pull your breast out of baby's mouth. And then the last thing, of course, is burping your baby. So there's different positions for burping. The third one is definitely my favorite and most successful burping technique. So I like this website also because they have some video guides down here for like here's some videos for latching. It talks about the nursing characteristics by age. Once again, like I said, it's so important for you to know the different milestones that your babies are going to be having so that you know that the nursing habits to expect. Um, they have some a guide for breast compressions. So this is just a good resource, and like I said, I'll include this link with the video, and so that you can have it as a resource. And I'm also going to include um, a handout from Milk Magic about getting the a great latch. So remember, our first step is looking for cues, and then we're going to do our positioning, put the nose to the nipple. We want our babies to have fish lips, and then we're going to look and listen. You should hear audible swallowing, and you should see baby's jaw moving, and should not see milk leaking. So these are just some things that you can look for to kind of help you with your latch. I'll include that as well in um, the information for today. So I just want to remind you that you are amazing. No matter how you feed your baby, you are working hard to provide the best possible start that you can. And that is all that really matters. So we're always looking for feedback with Nurturely. And I am once again Latoya Castro with Earthside Harmony, Tree of Life Collective, and Mame Inc. And we are here to support you. So if you have any questions or need some additional support, just please reach out to Tree of Life or Earthside Harmony, and we will answer those for you. Thank you for attending our support group, watching our support group about breastfeeding, sponsored by Milk Magic Curriculum. Thank you.